Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Double box from Costco. Mom's the best. I can't wait. Here we go. Bro. What? Bro. What? Bro. What? What are you doing? That has sugar in it. It's guaranteed to kill you, man. What? It's just sugar, man. Chill out. Nah, man. It's poison. If you want to stay lean, you got to avoid that stuff. It'll raise your insulin, and when that happens, that's it. That's the end. Huh. But didn't Marshawn Lynch have like Skittles in between every single football game he was in? Right? Oh yeah. But I keep hearing that sugar is the main cause of type 2 diabetes. I don't want that. Huh. I heard that too. Cinnamon Toast Crunch though. Want to ask Mr. Schersch? Yeah, let's ask Mr. Schersch. Mr. Schersch! Mr. Schersch! Mr. Schersch! What's up, everybody? If you haven't guessed, I'm Mr. Schersch. I'm a high school strength and conditioning coach. I'm a PE teacher in Harlem. And today, we're going to be talking about what is the deal with sugar. It seems you cannot get by in this day and age without hearing some ill health effect about sugar. It causes type 2 diabetes. It is the reason everyone is fat. It will kill you, right? Seems like supremely dire consequences for something that is quite literally all around us all the time. Donuts, cookies, cake, ice cream, pretty much any dessert has some form of sugar in it. And we love it. The taste is delicious. So what's the deal with this, right? Is it really killing us? Is it really something that is truly inherently evil? Is it something that's just so dire on our health and we're not noticing it over a long period of time? The answers are yes and no. Let's talk about it. All right, so for us to properly talk about this, let's do a quick biology lesson here. Sugar is energy. Quite simply, our bodies are going to break it down into glucose. If you don't know what glucose is, it's the main energy substrate that our body uses to perform activity or have our heartbeat or have our organs function. It is what we use as fuel, and we break sugar down into glucose. Shocker though, here's the plot twist. Vegetables, perennially known as, pretty much everyone can agree that vegetables are pretty darn healthy for you for the most part. Vegetables are also converted into energy, and they are also converted into the very same thing that sugar is converted into, glucose. When we consume vegetables, we also break it down into energy, and eventually it gets broken down into glucose. So again, we can move around, perform activities, have our heartbeat, have our organs beat. So at the end of the day, sugar and vegetables are both providing us energy. So why is sugar so fully demonized by our culture, and why is vegetables not? Well, let's discuss. There are two main reasons. Reason number one, sugar is incredibly dense in calories, meaning a tiny amount of volume speaks for an enormous amount of calories, and it generally carries no nutritional benefit. So let's discuss this by showing you what sugar looks like and then what its equivalents look like. So right here is 68 grams of sugar. I measured that to the exact gram today. And why did I choose 68 grams of sugar? Because my students consistently tell me they love the caramel frappe from McDonald's. And the caramel frappe has 68 grams of sugar in it if you get a medium. So this is technically one caramel frappe and all the sugar in it, right? Not all that hard to eat, really doesn't take up any space. I could just drink this right now, and it would be awful because it's literally just straight sugar, and that's just too much sugar basically. But would it be hard to consume? Would it be hard to eat? No. And if you put this in a drink with a little bit of caramel and some whipped cream on it, totally easy, right? So 68 grams of sugar. Let's take a look at some caloric equivalents. This is 8 ounces of chicken breast. This is the same calorically as this, and this has a ton of protein in it, which is fantastic for you. So there's a ton of nutritional benefit to this. It's way harder to eat, right? Like 8 ounces of chicken is probably going to fill me up. That's a solid lunch if I throw some veggies in there with it. And this is a caramel frappe that you can suck down in no time at all. These are 3 bananas. You could have 3 bananas and it would equal the same caloric value as this. And again, potassium, magnesium, tons of micronutrients in here that help our body function. This, nothing. You could have a 4-egg omelet in the morning, right? 4 eggs, calorically equivalent to 68 grams of sugar right here, roughly speaking. Again, plenty of benefits in it. 4-egg omelet is a nice hearty meal. This, I just want more. Quite literally, 4 oranges. You could have 4 oranges instead of that caramel frappe, and it'll equal the same thing, and one of these is great for you, and one of them is not. So I hope these comparisons get you to realize that volume-wise, this is never really going to fill you up. You could continuously eat sugar and you would never really feel full. You might be disgusted with the taste after a while, but volume-wise, you won't feel full. Whereas if you're eating nutritionally dense food, they are way, way lower in caloric value when you consider the volume of them compared to sugar, and they fill you up, and they provide nutritional value and a ton of health benefits. So, sugar versus regular foods, both are converted into glucose. However, what is the bang for the buck in terms of those two things? In terms of satiety and in terms of nutritional value? This is part of the reason that sugar is dangerous to our health, and it's a good reason that it's demonized, right? It's not a bad reason to sort of look at it and say, like, this is bad. Let's talk about reason number 2. Reason number 2, sugar is highly addictive. So, I don't know if you've ever opened up a sleeve of Oreos and then just been like, well, I guess I'll have just 1 Oreo. Maybe 2 Oreos. Okay, 3 Oreos. All right, the whole sleeve. That's exactly how it goes almost every time. I have the same problem with Fig Newtons. Open up a sleeve of Fig Newtons, they're all going down the hatch. No survivors, no one's left behind. And part of that is because it's wildly easy to consume, right? It doesn't fill you up. And we covered that in the last reason. But also, and this is really interesting on sort of the scientific brain scan side of things, sugar is actually addictive and proven to be so. So scientists did this with lab rats. They studied their brains and what parts of their brain would light up when they would consume cocaine. Lo and behold, when they consumed cocaine, a part of their brain would light up. Then they tried the same experiment with sugar. What parts of their brain light up when they consume sugar? Same part, right? So it's really interesting to note that sugar has this property that makes us just want more and more and more of it. We release dopamine, we release happy drugs when we have it. We even start releasing those things in anticipation of it, right? Have you ever thought of your mom's cooking your favorite dessert? The smell is in the house. You start salivating. You start getting excited for it. You even start feeling kind of happy about it. And then you have it and you feel really, really satisfied, sort of releasing that craving. And then you wait until that craving builds up again. Again, sugar is proven to be highly addictive. And that's something you have to be highly aware of when you have sugar in the house. Now, let's talk about what to do with this information. Okay, so we know sugar is broken down into glucose, and same with any other food that we eat. So therefore, sugar is not inherently evil. However, we just showed you 2 reasons why sugar can easily lead to a caloric surplus. And when you hear stuff in the media that says sugar leads to type 2 diabetes, sugar is the leading reason for heart disease or heart cancer or whatever, sugar can kill you, it's not exactly telling the whole story. Yes, sugar is a part of that story, but really it's the caloric surplus that leads to heart disease. It's the caloric surplus that can cause diabetes. It is the caloric surplus that can lead to your death. Sugar is wildly easy to consume, and because of that, it can add a lot of calories to your day that you may not need. And if you do that on a very consistent basis and you're not aware of how dense sugar is without any nutritional benefit, you will lead yourself down a path of health problems. But again, sugar isn't inherently evil. You can consume sugar and nothing bad will happen, provided you can rein it in and provided you are aware of the amount of calories you are consuming. So this is the whole point of the video. Is sugar bad? Again, it depends how you view bad. Maybe. Does it nutritionally benefit you? No. But does it kill you by itself? No. In the context of a caloric surplus, it can be problematic. In the context of someone maintaining the same amount of calories that they burn each and every day, it can be totally fine. So let's talk about some actionable things that people can do for their diet if they want to continue to have sugar and continue to consume it while staying healthy. Let's talk about it. Here's a quick breakdown for those of you who are addicted to sugar and still want to be healthy people while consuming it. 1, treat it like hot fire. When you know that you're about to have a sugary something, you have to know that it is incredibly dense in calories and that if you are going to burn more calories than you consume, or at least maintain the same amount of calories that you burn and consume, you need to know that whatever has sugar in it is incredibly dense and you need to keep the portion size small. A small portion size is going to be key in controlling how many calories you consume with that sugar. 2, measure. I said this a million times on a million videos already, but in that little demonstration where I showed you that thing of sugar and then I compared it against a bunch of other food products, you gotta know how much sugar you're consuming and then you gotta contextualize it against other things you consume, right? So which leads us to number 3, know the opportunity cost. If you're gonna have something that has 50 grams of sugar in it, know that you just sacrificed possibly 8 ounces of chicken. Right? One of those things will fill you up. One of those things will definitely not fill you up. You may want to feel full throughout your day so you're not consistently craving more and more food, which again leads to a calorie surplus, which leads to a bunch of health problems. That's my advice for consuming sugar. That's my advice for how to manage it. And again, I can't emphasize it enough. Measure it, treat it with respect, understand it's calorically dense for very, very little volume. And if you do these things, hopefully you can consume sugar without going through some sort of guilt process where you're like, oh my God, this is inherently bad for me, this is inherently evil, I should never have it. Don't do that, just understand it. And that's all, folks. If you made it to the end of the video, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe, comment down there. I guarantee I will respond to it. And until next time, I will see ya then.